Point Blank tonight is Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. He's joined us for a chat on a number of issues. Hi, Mustafa. Welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Happy Independence Day to you.
Thank you very much.
I also read the statement issued by your boss, yes, and of course said a number of things, yes, about the state of our economy, country, and all of that. The fact that there's despondency and all of that. One would have thought that the Independence Day statement, at least you just say the nice things, yeah, and then you leave it that way, so that maybe from tomorrow we start dealing with the hard issues again.
Well, I think that the General Secretary managed his tone in that letter this afternoon. But of course, we are happy that we are 67 years, but equally sad that on the 67 years and in the last 7 years, we have seen the highest and heightened level of reckless corruption. Flagrant disregard to law and process, abuse of power and office. President Akufo-Addo have taken us 20 years backward as a country. President Akufo-Addo is the only president who is in power as president. Yet Ghanaians are crying. They haven't eaten. But he says we should be jubilating. We should be excited. I mean, for me, that is what his governance have been. Under his government today, poverty rate have gone very high. Ghanaians are really broke under his government. People cannot afford 3 square meal. Under his government, even salaried workers are suffering. Financial insecurity. So families are very vulnerable. On top of that, we are experiencing the highest level of arrogance in government.
So these are the downsides of the garbage you may be mentioning, but there are positive lights as well.
Of course.
Free SHS, we have more than 1 million people who wouldn't have had secondary education. Now they have secondary education thanks to Akufo-Addo's vision of free SHS. There may be issues with it, but that doesn't take away from the fact that, people who otherwise couldn't have had education, have it. The revolution in the education sector, the introduction of STEM, and the schools they are building, infrastructure, and all of that. These obviously are positives. A number of factories also set up. It may not have met, the numbers, but at least some factories have been set up which have employed about 170,000 people. These are positives. Bawumia says over 2 million jobs have been created over the period. That is quite huge. So these are positives that we can also point
to. Than we see it. If you tell me that we built factories and over 17,000 jobs, where are the factories? Can you give me one? Can you name one of the factories?
No, there's Ekufi Juice, which we all mentioned, and a number of people have been employed. Is that one? There are a number.
Factories?
Yes, there are a number of them.
Which of them?
So, for example, when you are going to Nsawam, I just cannot remember the name, but there's one close to the Ejapia area. When you're going to Nsawam, it's written boldly there 1D, 1F. And a number of them around. I may just not have them. And then some existing factories have also seen expansion. Thanks to the 1D, 1F.
Rebranding or expansion.
They've seen expansion.
They have not seen expansion.
Really?
Yes. A number of the factories have been rebranded. They were already existing. They are private-owned initiatives, and government goes behind the doors to try and convert them to 1D, 1F.
Like which one?
A lot of them.
Like which one?
Bring the list. You mentioned factories. I didn't mention factories.
No, but I'm not alleging that. You are alleging that.
You started a conversation that they've created factories and then they've given jobs, and I ask you where are the factories. It's a confuse. So if you create 10 factories, say that you have built 100 factories.
No, I don't know about that. Okay. I mean, they say that they've built a number of them. So do you also
agree that
and
Ghanaians
some
are hungry?
Some are still, they say Ghanaians are not hungry.
They're hungry, yes.
But Ghanaians, Jesus said the poor you always have with you. You always have people who are hungry.
No. This poor is not the one Jesus talked about.
Which one is this one?
This poverty is the one that the man who is supposed to be protecting the public purse is currently running away with the public purse.
To where?
And that is President Akufo-Addo.
Running away with the public purse to where?
Under him. I'm still young, but I haven't seen this level of corruption in governance. I've not seen it before. I haven't seen this level, the level of.
Well, when you say corruption,
honesty.
What do you mean by saying corruption?
This is the first time corruption that emanates from the seat of governments. In the past, if you hear a scandal around the office of president and the presidency, it was something that brings a lot of worry to the seat of government. Today, the president sleeps and dreams of corruption. He wants to, because that's where it emanates. Corruption is centralized under this. So you don't know?
No,
the last one is the $12 million Ajapa deal. Did you interrogate it?
Why not? We did.
So you didn't see that there was an expenditure of $12 million for no work done?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there were feasibility works.
And you don't think that there's conflict of interest?
No, so don't say no work done. Work was done.
What work?
There were feasibility studies. There were talks about. There were talks about listing on the stock exchange. All these processes cost money.
I'm talking about what gave us cost. Cost against the state. And you are talking about talks about feasibility. I'm talking about 153 million Ghana cedis being shared between Kenoforata's company and Gabi's company. And you are talking about feasibility?
No, but they were engaged to do some work, were they not?
What work?
No, but I mean, data bank, you mean?
So
right?
you don't think that when the president's brothers are busy taking money from the public purse, there's conflict of interest?
Yeah, so you could argue so, but
that's not a crime.
Not necessarily. There's a way you deal with matters of conflict of interest. You declare interest. So you do all of that. We don't know whether they did so.
We know
that they did not declare. They did not declare interest in the matters. You declare your interest.
Really?
You are not part of the process. You allow the process to go on without your influence.
So then, because government is government, we don't have prioritization anymore. So even when we are crying that the economy is collapsed, let us continue to use the little resources we have.
But it's expertise.
In that manner. What expertise?
Data.
So I've just mentioned to you one of the.
No, but that's not corruption necessarily.
That's stealing.
It's not. I don't.
That's not corruption. You call it, but that's stealing from the public.
I don't think.
Let us also talk about the dams.
Which dams?
That when a government takes money and says that I'm going to build dams.
The one village, one dam.
One village, one dam.
Okay.
They were saying that the whole country, but now they have reduced it to the northern regions.
No, but it's always been a northern Ghana promise.
Did they build the dams?
No, so some dams were built.
At where? So I ask you, you can't say some dams were built, because you see, when Bawumia makes statements and you guys are running away with it.
When Bawumia makes what statement?
He lies.
That what?
The man is a liar. He says, I built dams. Where are the dams? Did you see the dams?
No. What was the point you making?
I'm just saying that I said they are stealing public money. You said no. And I'm saying that they took money from World Bank. They said they want to construct dams. And they never did. And then we can't find the money. Can you find the money?
No.
Did you see the dams?
No, some dams were built.
Where? Some dams were built where?
Dams were built.
I've been looking for the list of where in the last 1 month. Nobody in government can provide me the list.
So that there are dams built in Donwini.
It's not true.
There's
no dam there. There's no dam.
There are dams built in Lisa.
There is no dam there.
Erimon.
Please, there's no dam.
Nanyari, Nowoyeli, and Zambo, all in the Upper West region. Dams are there.
There's no dam. There's no dam there. The people of Upper West.
I've just mentioned where dams are.
I'm in the field every day. I'm telling you, there's no dam. Yes, if you like, tomorrow, let's take your car and go to the places that you have called and go and check if we see dams.
But we've seen dams, right?
Have you seen dugouts or you've seen dams?
No, we've seen, yes. So
have you seen dams or dugouts?
No, so we know what a dugout is, and we know that the operational definition for what they wanted to do was not the dam we know. It was actually
they said they'll build dam. The slogan is that one village, one dam.
Yes, and at the time I recall that when that promise was
made, they lied to the public.
When that promise was made,
when they say that I'll build one village, one dam, they lied to the public.
Was made.
Bawumia lied to the public. When he says that I'll build one village, one dam, everybody knew that the vice president and his government were coming to build dams. Where are the dams?
I see.
They haven't built one.
They've built quite a number of them.
They've caused financial loss to the state.
How Akumsin was it?
Any day NDC comes to power,
you probe that.
We will not probe, we will prosecute people.
No, but you have to prove first.
We know.
You
Your
have to,
sister station, Joy FM, did documentary.
You have to build a docket.
Didn't you see the documentary Joy FM?
You have to probe first.
You didn't see the documentary
No, but
Joy FM.
you don't prosecute based on documentary. You prosecute after you've built a docket.
We are in opposition, and we are holding evidence that suggests that they have caused financial loss. If you take money for dams and you go and construct dugouts, and some of them are actually football parks today as we speak.
So the dugouts are now football parks.
Yes.
So they play in the pits.
Go and check.
Or the pits, the pits are no more depression. So the pits have
even
been exalted.
If you go and you dig a pit and you leave it, after
when it rains,
it
fills up.
It fills up.
I see.
That is the financial loss.
I see. This is this point blank. My guest is Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. We're having a chat on general issues. So, John Dramani Mahama, your flag bearer, we understand sometime last week, presented a list or a name of his running mate to the executives of the party. I don't know if it's FEC or NEC, for deliberation. And you have promised that tomorrow, which is Thursday,
correct,
you will outdoor the person. What kind of person is this one?
So the curtains are closed. Tomorrow, NDC will know its running mate. What is very important is that we are going to put out a running mate that is better than the status quo. A running mate that brings to bear credibility and integrity. I've always said that.
And is there a running mate we've seen before in the scheme of NDC's things?
You may have seen, you may not have seen, but I'm just saying that in the context of NDC's running mate, which we are going to name tomorrow, credibility is a key thing for us. Credibility is a big idea, big agenda.
And you are sure that this person you'll be outdooring tomorrow has
those qualities.
No blemish, no stain,
we will present
no
the
spots.
candidate for public scrutiny. Just as we are scrutinizing other people today. And I say that today, the seat of vice president has been deprived. And you know, there's credibility deficit to the seat of vice president because of the legacy of Dr. Bawumia. Because today, if you ask my son who is
Bawumia has been reputed to be one of the most active vice presidents we've ever seen.
He's the most
active vice president
used
we've ever
as
seen.
an instrument to deceive the public.
Really?
Yes.
What was the deceit? Championing digitalization, ensuring that there's mobile interoperability, which has saved us money.
All the promises that President Akufo-Addo made to Ghanaians that have ended up being fraudulent, substandard, and unachievable.
Promises like what? He said he would do free SHS. He did it. He said he would build factories.
You see, the most
We've seen
dangerous
some
thing
factories.
is when we don't interrogate issues and we take them hook, line.
So what issues haven't we interrogated?
Did you interrogate the Free Senior High School?
No, of course we did.
So
we've made a point. We've made a point that free SHS may have issues, which we have to deal with.
The mayor is a very important thing.
Which we have to. Every project
has issues.
Every project or program has issues.
No. Proper planning doesn't bring problems.
Every project or program has issues.
Are you saying that when we are going to build bridges, we should construct and pretend that they will have issues so that people will go and pass on that bridge?
But the bridge analogy won't work here. This is a project with human beings.
We are producing graduates
across the country.
We are training students. We are bringing up students. And the danger is that as we are sitting here today, your children, my brothers who are home, their next available, parents are the teachers. How are the teachers faring under Free Senior High School policies? What is the quality of teaching work that goes into the students? Is it not dangerous that we are producing substandard students? Is it not too dangerous for you?
Because it is your case that the teachers are not being properly catered for?
The MPP's whole idea of Free Senior High School is about votes. It's not about the quality of students.
And the vice president you are adoring tomorrow will ensure that teachers are well catered for. I mean, with the candidate and all of that.
We are bringing a vice presidential candidate who Ghanaians can trust that when he says, I will do it.
When he
or she says, I will do it.
So the choice takes into consideration the gender of the person.
In the Bible, there was no she, there was he.
So the gender of the person is important.
The he in the Bible connotes he or she. So in either wise, it could be a woman, it could be a man. So
it's more likely to be a woman.
Whatever it is, I'm just saying that whoever becomes the vice presidential candidate tomorrow emerge out of the meeting. I will be happy to say that a woman is partnering a man to go into the presidency 2024. I'll be happy to see that because a woman is a special representation when it comes to the country. There are a lot of women. But I do not know what His Excellency the President will be saying because there are people that are ahead of me. I'm sitting here as a deputy. I'm sure my boss is probably aware of some conversation at that level.
But you've seen the name. Well, it was presented to you.
I haven't seen the name. I'll see the name tomorrow. But I certainly know that the name represents credibility and integrity. Bawumia was presented to us as an economic wizard, the most brilliant economist, professor of a doctorate of economics. He's from Bank of Ghana. When he becomes president, vice president, all our problems will come to an end.
Well, nobody said that.
He said that. No. That's what the MPP did. That's how they marketed him.
That all our problems will end.
Didn't you hear them? He didn't hear all lectures. All the lectures, the economic lectures.
They didn't say all our problems will end. That's your own exaggeration.
Why? The man said that everything, we have the money. The money is in the country. Why are we suffering? There's no need for us to be suffering. They know where the money is. He chastised President Mahama for borrowing. Our debt to GDP was 54%. Today we have 104%.
We don't have 104. We used to have 104. There's debt restructuring.
Do you think that is presenting realistic figures?
That has improved.
A finance minister that presents figures every day and it's being refuted from Parliament.
There's an IPAC meeting tomorrow. Yes. The NDC finally returned to IPAC, and you've been on the case of the EC to publish the calendar. We've seen some calendar or some document that spells out activities to be carried out, purportedly coming from the Electoral Commission. Has the NDC seen this calendar?
First of all, we have held a position that by this time, 10 months into an election, we should be having a calendar of activities, which becomes a roadmap for all stakeholders of the 2020 election to follow. So for whatever reason, the Electoral Commission has never done that. It was up until last Thursday that Honorable Manibuama wrote a letter to the EC detailing what we envisage as tasks ahead of us, things that we must do, checklist that we must fulfill before, we can say that there is going to be a credible election. Then I think on Saturday or so, we saw a response from EC that there was going to be an IPAC meeting on the 7th, which is tomorrow. Surprisingly to us, we woke up on Monday and there's a publication in the Daily Graphic to the effect that represented a calendar. And then the question we ask is, if EC knows that it was going to publish a calendar, why didn't they do that long ago? Only to wait until we request. And then on top of that, what is being published in the Daily Graphics is not a document for stakeholders to consider. We cannot even discuss it because the EC must know, for all intents and purposes, within the competent discharge of their responsibilities in good faith, a document for public from Electoral Commission must be signed by the Electoral Commission. And it must be on either the letterhead or the logo of the Electoral Commission. Political parties do not take correspondence from the Electoral Commission through publications. And so, and then what is even more shameful is for them to come back and say, we didn't leak it. So what we are discussing now, who caused it? The same way they will leak our 2024 results and say that they didn't leak it. It's unprofessional, it's a lazy administration, and they must set up and do proper work. You cannot call a meeting and leak the agenda of the meeting to the public. Listen to the discourse on the agenda whilst we are hiding by the windows. The Electoral Commission has doors. It cannot come in its own house through the window. IPAC is a forum for political parties.
So what's the practice? The calendar should be presented to you before the meeting.
The practice of
before the meeting.
The practice is that if you want to discuss a matter,
know ahead of time. So you prepare.
If you want to discuss a matter, you give notices to stakeholders, which EC did. Say that we are going to IPAC on the 7th
to discuss
the calendar and other issues. So what was the rationale leaking that same agenda to the public? Now they say, we didn't issue a statement. if what we saw is anything to go by, how did it get leaked? Who leaked it from EC? How can a sensitive institution like the Electoral Commission's document get leaked?
But I mean, this is general information.
So we've been discussing it. So on what basis are we discussing it? Is it a document? Is it anything before us? What is the rationale behind EC's conduct of leaking its own meetings way ahead of time?
You're leaking, the way you are putting it, it does appear that the leaking was officially done.
No, it was not. Nobody leaks officially. I'm saying that if you prepare your salary structures for workers in Citi FM, and tomorrow
an unscrupulous employee could just leak it.
It means there's no proper administration here.
No, but it does happen. I mean, even from the presidency. What
it means is that we can't rely on that institution.
No, from the presidency, even things leak.
It's because a lot
from national security, things leak. From the FBI, things leak. From the White House, things leak. So things will always leak. Because human beings are those dealing with it.
EC had the calendar, yet it cannot give it to stakeholders all this while.
So why do you think that the EC hasn't given you the calendar so you guys will look at it before the meeting? Why do you
How come it was only the time that EC scheduled for a meeting that the document got leaked? How come?
So what's your suspicion? Why do you think the EC will not officially give it?
We think that it's unprofessional. We think that the Electoral Commission is trying to tie political parties behind their backs.
I see.
No political party controls the Electoral Commission. It is an independent institution. And as such, we all also know that political parties are major stakeholders in the progress of Electoral Commission. And so IPAC is a forum where political parties will meet and make inputs. If you acknowledge the same and you have written notices for meetings, and the agenda is leaked to the public, what is the rationale? Is there anything to hide?
You've been listening to Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC.